Welcome to The Other Discovery Show, the podcast that's not about podcasts. We're going to talk to you about all the other things we discovered this week. I'm Josh.
I'm Kirk.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Matt.
Matt's joining us here from Alabama, a longtime friend of ours. We went to high school or middle school with him, one of the two.
we at some point went to school together, and he's here now.
Yeah, known him for a long time, so he's in town for a friend of ours' wedding, and so he's going to join us for The Other Discovery Show. So, quick question for you guys. How do you feel about waterboarding?
Not a fan.
Not okay with it.
I don't know. That's quite a non sequitur. I don't agree with it.
So
I've been waterboarded before.
Yes, you have.
Really?
I remember that.
I have not.
Well, okay, tell everyone the story.
So we had a friend that was fixing to be shipped to Iraq, and because we're idiots, we're like, let's waterboard each other and see how bad it can be.
It's bad.
And then we were going to see how long we could last. I think I lasted 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's not something that's comfortable. Have you ever been in the shower and you put a washcloth on your face and you feel like you're dying?
Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They also strap you down, and they do it on purpose.
So the reason I ask is I was at work and someone at work was saying there's this haunted house out there where they torture you. They actually torture you in this haunted house. I was like, that can't be real. This is made up. And she's like, no, it's called McKamey Manor.
Hey, wait. You can't bring that one. That's something that Keith brought in the freaking Podcast Discovery Club.
Keith did mention this.
Come to find out, that's also the Podcast Discovery Club, but I don't go on Facebook, so...
He doesn't participate in our own Discovery Club.
But, so apparently McKamey Manor, I thought it was like BS. I was like, this can't be real. This isn't a real thing. This is all like just people are hyping up this haunted house. It's not really that bad. So I started looking into it. And so, of course, I started with Wikipedia, the place where you obviously start on these. And
It's the first place you go.
Always go to that Wikipedia.
so a quick overview for anyone that's unfamiliar. It's a torture house and a pioneer of the notion of extreme haunts. It was founded by Russ McKamey, and originally it was in San Diego, but they made him leave. So now it's in Tennessee.
Not a good sign.
And Alabama. He has two of them. And it's known for its simulated aggression toward its guests. They say simulated aggression, but we'll see.
It's just straight up aggression.
Yeah, it pretty much is just aggression.
And they make people do a physical, a mental health check, a drug screen, and sign a 40-page liability waiver and do a 3 to 4 hour orientation before they even let you in.
No, but here's the thing is there's a payoff.
No.
If you can get through it, they give you $20,000.
Yeah, well, even better, listen to this. There's 24,000 people in line in the waiting list to get into
I did
this
not
thing.
know that part.
24,000 people in the waiting list to get into McKamey Manor, and there's one in Alabama and there's one in Tennessee, and they do, on average, 1 to 2 people per weekend.
And being
in
from
each
Alabama,
episode.
Do they do it like throughout the year? Or
Yes, they do it year-round, every weekend.
man,
So,
Is it okay? In your research, is it still basically free?
yes, no, it's free. All you have
That's
to do.
what- that's what I don't understand.
You have to bring a couple
dog
of
food.
cans of dog food,
Yeah.
and they donate it to like a greyhound rescue.
I'm surprised I've never heard of this yet.
Yes, so-
even living in Alabama.
So
It's
all of this is just like the lead up to it. So what they actually do is they tell you to go to a place. Once you pass the orientation, they say, okay, go to this place and wait in just like a parking lot somewhere. They pull up in a van and they abduct you. They stick like a rag in your mouth, like a dirty rag in your mouth, throw a bag on your head, wrap your arms in duct tape, and throw you into a van. Like they legit abduct you. Like whether you want to or not, you've signed the waiver and said, I want this. And so they abduct you, throw you into a van, and take you to the manor. In McKamey Manor, there have been reports of people like if you have hair, they'll grab you by the hair and just rip chunks of your hair out. They'll drag you around on the ground by your hair. They will open hand slap you as hard as they can. There's been reports of people waterboarding. There's been reports, apparently a tank full of eels. That's one of the traps in there, and people get trapped in this tank full of eels and you can't get out. And it's just filled with eels, and all you can do is like stick your head out the top just a little bit to breathe, but then you're trapped in this tank full of eels until you give up.
No, and there's a video. He has a video of everybody quitting this.
So real quick, a couple of other things from the Wikipedia article. They may physically assault patrons, hit them with vibrating toys, waterboard them, force them to eat and drink unknown substances, have them bound and gagged, or engage in other forms of emotional, physical, and psychological torture. So apparently people were saying they've been drugged while they were in McKamey Manor. They've been force-fed worms and rotten eggs. Apparently if you throw up, they force-feed you your own vomit. Apparently there was one woman that came on. Apparently they came out and said, hey, we don't waterboard people. And the next line in the news article I was reading was, Laura says, I was waterboarded.
No, me and Zach watched. There's a 2-hour video.
He has a long video of people quitting this.
Yeah.
And it's just like the clip, the last part of their ordeal, and them saying there's like a safe phrase that you have to say when you're leaving. It's like
It used to not
they
have a
stole
safe
my
word.
they stole my lunch money. They did something, and they kicked my ass or something weird like that. It's really weird, and they're like, apologize for not making it. It's very disturbing.
Yeah, it's not.
I actually did not feel comfortable after watching
If
that
anybody's
video.
like considering, like, oh, I want $20,000, this is not something you're going to want to do. This is not. It just is not.
And the crazy thing is they didn't used to have safe words. That's a new thing that they added. They used to pride themselves in saying, we don't have safe words. Like, too bad.
It makes me wonder, do people that sign up for it, do they regret signing up for it afterwards? Or
looking at the
Seems
videos,
like it. They're
most
like
of them look like
traumatized.
they were like shaking and like, I quit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like
literally,
horrible.
I watched one where he put a mask on somebody because this is his own video.
It looks like freaking Saw.
Yeah,
It is. It is,
McKamey does
basically.
it. He puts this mask on people, and this the article that Keith linked in the Podcast Discovery Club has all this. And he was like, it looked like dog food maybe, or like chili, like canned chili. I don't know. It's disturbing looking, but he just dumps it on your face. Like,
And it seemed like they made it seem like they told the guy they were dumping like guts and blood on him.
Yeah.
Which it
'Cause
wasn't. It was like mud.
they
But
duct
had
tape your
literally
eyes.
duct tape all the way around his head, like
yeah,
over
they
his
duct tape
eyes.
your eyes, not like comfortably. They just duct tape around your face, and then they put earplugs in, so you're like sensory deprived, and they do weird stuff to you.
Yep.
And like borderline, like they said waterboarding, and I didn't see anything in the video of them like literally waterboarding, like a towel over the face or anything, but like they would pour stuff on your face,
Right.
like, and people were having trouble breathing, were like trying to clear their airway, and they buried a guy alive. He had to like unbury a guy for him to quit one time.
Yeah, you couldn't even see his face.
No,
you could
no.
hear him, but you could see the mud moving a little bit. You couldn't see his face.
The other thing they'll do is they find out what your personal fears
Yeah,
are.
they do
and
like a
tailor
questionnaire
it
beforehand.
towards you. And so one of the things they've done is
No,
they'll trap
the worst.
They'll nail someone into a coffin so you can't get out, and then they'll fill it with roaches or spiders. It's insane. It's insane the
Yeah.
things that they do.
It-
No
And
one's ever done it.
and
No
just-
one's ever won the money.
Just to
if you
clarify,
want to face your fears and you just
no,
want to
but
not be scared of something, I guess that's a way
I
to do
don't
it.
think it works though. Everybody is terrified.
You talk
And,
about
like,
immersion therapy.
Everybody's traumatized at the
Yeah.
end of this.
and you think, okay, maybe this is like 45 minutes, an hour. It's 8-hour experience. It is a day-long experience that you have to make it through to get the $20,000. No one's made it. I think the longest someone's gone is 6 hours.
And
Oh, that's so close.
yeah, that is close.
Dang,
to that point.
But I guarantee when they hit the 6-hour mark, they're like, all right, let's just waterboard them until they quit.
yeah, I mean,
we're not going to pay out $20,000.
if like all the rules are out the window, there's like go to town. But no, it's
Looking at the guy that does this, my first question is, do you have $20,000? No one pays to do this. Where are you getting your money?
yeah, it is a good question. But my first thought was, okay, if somebody can make $20,000 for getting through this, how has nobody gotten through it? But then I saw this video, and it's like, oh, that's how, because it's crazy what they're doing to you. It is they're messing with you
Yeah.
on a level that you will never experience again in your life.
I'm very
unless you-
curious to see what that 40-page waiver has in it.
Yeah. Well, they record literally everything for their own legal protection. So if someone says, "Oh, this happened," they can say, "Here's the video. Here's what actually happened." So they record everything, and they actually live stream it to Vegas, and people are betting on how long people will make it and when they'll quit.
And
also,
I will
People
say,
in
like,
Vegas will bet on anything.
well, they don't like. I don't know if they waterboard. I'm guessing not because
they probably
it's-
don't.
But
People probably think they're
watched
being
them
waterboarded.
dumping like it looked like dog food, like just chunky liquid stuff, like on their face,
Yeah.
nose. Like
No,
they had,
there was somebody that had the cloth over their mouth and nose. And
One of the other things
liquid
I've heard
being
they
poured on
do
them.
is they'll grab people by the back of the head and slam their face into a bucket of like dirty water and just hold it there for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, take it out.
I don't know how someone's
Then they
not
breathe,
died yet.
Slam their face back into the water. So like they literally are just torturing people.
Yeah, it's much more extreme than you're thinking. Because I first thought like, oh, it's a haunted house for $20,000. Oh, it's gonna be nothing.
Right.
No, it's
Yeah.
they're really messing with it.
Apparently,
Like,
they've been featured recently on 2 different documentaries on Netflix.
Yep.
I actually want to watch it. It's about like scare tactics.
Yeah.
Like,
It's one of those things where someone said it at work and I was like, this can't be real. This has to be sensationalized. And I looked into it. I was like, this sounds like just about what they said.
Yeah, it's real and
it
it's
sounds
terrible.
like what it's advertised as. They
will-
torture you.
What makes it worse, it seems, is being sensory deprived. If you can't see, hear, smell something, what's going on,
they
what's
can just
happening
tell
to
you that it's like, remember the Punisher where he has the blowtorch on
Yeah, like,
and
hits
he's
him
just
with
putting
the
a popsicle on the
Yeah.
guy's back and the guy thinks he's being burned.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it messes with you.
And apparently there's rules for how you get it. You can't run away from anyone. You can't fight back against any of the actors in the manor. You can't eat or drink anything. You can't smoke. There's like 4 or 5 like other things on top of that, but like you just basically have to just let them do whatever they want.
I don't like that.
No, it sounds
I don't like
awful.
any of this.
It
But I like
sounds awful.
$20,000.
I don't like $20,000 that much.
I like
It's not worth
$20,000
it.
a lot.
That's for lifelong like trauma.
Yeah, I mean there is that.
I mean,
Okay, question.
you will have PTSD from that. Like,
How
just
much
straight
money
up.
would you do this for? That you think that would be enough to push you to that?
I wouldn't do it
finish
unless
line.
I got the money up front.
100,000.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way I would. There's no way I would make
you're
it
saying
through.
you're guaranteed to see
yeah,
the money?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, okay, yeah. If I was guaranteed money, I'd go through. But like getting waterboarded,
If I was guaranteed-
or like being buried alive, like I would freak out.
If I was guaranteed $1 million, I'd sign up for it. If I was guaranteed,
No,
$1
I was going to
million.
say $1 million is probably where.
I mean, yeah.
no, maybe 3 years salary, which is not even close to $1 million. But
I mean, but like
I think,
$1 million,
but it's much more than 20,000.
yeah. But I mean, it's just that's going to cause you lifelong trauma. Like that, you gotta. It's
no,
gonna be
some of these people are messed
really
up.
worth
He has
it.
a video that he puts out, and he makes them watch it before you go in there, and it is literally everybody quitting
Yeah.
because it's just. I feel like he wants you to know, like this is not a joke. I'm gonna try and ruin you.
Yep.
I'm gonna try and make you because one of these girls was like literally shaking. She like duct tape around her head, had like it wasn't earbuds. It was more like
It
ear
was like
protection.
Noise canceling headphones.
Yeah, and she was just shaking like uncontrollably, like clearly in shock because they are going to try and ruin
Yeah.
you.
So there was a guy that they did a interview with in one of the articles I read, and then we can move on from this. And he said he works there now, but he went to it twice before he worked there, or 3 times. The first time he quit during the waiver process, during like the orientation. He's like, nope, not doing it. He's like, all right, I'm going to go
Pretty
back.
smart.
So he went back and he quit the second time when they buried him like alive in a coffin. And he's like, nope, I'm out. So he quit that time. And then the third time he quit because they did some hypnosis to him. And he said it was like life-alteringly terrifying hypnosis. It's like, I don't even know what that means, but it doesn't sound good.
The things that people say about this experience make me really not want to do it
It sounds really bad.
because it's just intense.
They've got a specialized hypnotist there.
I mean, they're trying to just access your deepest fears and ruin your life, essentially. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think $20,000 is enough for me because I have seen what they're doing to people.
What if they gave it to you up front?
if
And you had to go for until they said like 4 hours.
Is $20,000 enough to buy some like therapy appointments after the fact?
Maybe not enough to cover for the rest of your life.
Because I mean, that's really that's kind of the question you have to ask. Because yeah, it's horrifying. So awesome discovery. Also, thank you, Keith, because me and Kirk saw this today because you put it on there, and it's horrifying.
I felt disturbed for a little bit. I had to go for a little walk.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's messed up. But on a lighter note, I discovered this week something called the Ballmer Peak. Have you guys heard of this?
Nope.
And this is a special discovery from me and Josh's brother Gabe, and this is referencing Steve Ballmer.
I was gonna ask if it had to do with Steve Ballmer.
It does have to do with Steve Ballmer. And what it is in theory, and this is something that they've tested, in theory, some alcohol can make you an incredible coder. It can make you, and first of all, there's a limit, obviously. You can't give as much whiskey as all your coders want and just let them go to town, they're not going to do anything. But there is a limit where some alcohol makes you more effective at thinking. And this is called the Ballmer peak, because there's definitely a drop off immediately after.
Yeah.
There is that.
A very steep.
Yes. I'll post this in the show notes. Definitely take a look at it, because it is a very sharp peak. It's not something where there's kind of some flexibility there.
And it's funny, I think a lot of people have probably experienced this with either golf or some sort of thing that they're doing, where if you're sober, you're sometimes overthinking it, where if you have maybe one drink, you can just get in the rhythm, get in the flow, and just execute.
Well, the University of Illinois did a study on creative problem solving on 2 groups of men, one of which was a control, did not drink. One of which they gave, I think it's vodka cranberry is what they gave them, which is a hilarious one.
Why not?
Everyone likes vodka.
They wanted to get them to 0.075 blood alcohol content. And
so right under the legal limit.
Yeah, right in that kind of just like, I'm feeling good, but not drunk. And they saw some interesting results. For the non-drinkers, it took them 15.2 seconds to answer kind of a trivia question. For the drinking group, 11.5. It's pretty significant. And it's one of those things where my first thought immediately was like, what else do you think has the Ballmer peak in it? And I mean, we might be showing
chicken wings.
We might be showing a little behind the curtain here, but I think podcasting does. I think that your ability to be a good podcaster.
Oh, I thought you were saying what other food or beverage could make you.
Wait, what did you say?
He said chicken wings. He said chicken wings.
Two burritos per person.
You severely misunderstood the question.
Yeah, like a hard miss on it. Because what I'm saying is,
cheeseburgers.
What other activities do you think that you're good if you're a little tipsy?
One thing that I have read of and know that it does help with is target shooting. I've seen, the reports that if you drink alcohol, or it's banned from drinking alcohol if you are target shooting, but they count it as like a performance enhancing drug because it steadies your nerves, helps them aim, and they're more on target.
And I bet you that's a steep drop off too.
Yeah,
it probably is, because at some point,
I'm seeing 2 targets
at some point you're just hitting other people, random bar patrons. It just happens.
Why are you shooting targets in a bar?
Oh, I thought you said darts.
No, target shooting.
Target shooting.
Yeah, target
Like
shooting.
in
It
the
should be at a
Olympics.
bar. Do not shoot your gun at a bar. I'm going to say that right now. I don't feel bad about
That
it.
sounds like a new hipster type bar. Target shooting bar.
I mean, first of all, that sounds dope.
I mean,
but
they've got axe throwing now.
Yeah.
mixing shooting with drinking, probably not a good idea.
No. Speaking
Fair
of
point.
shooting where you shouldn't be, there was apparently a Florida police officer that was arrested recently because he accidentally fired his gun in the middle school cafeteria that he was stationed at.
That sounds like a really bad police officer.
Wait, I need more context than that. You can't just say accidentally fired a gun in cafeteria.
That's all I know.
Did he drop it?
He shouldn't have been doing anything with it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's no reason we're like, oh, I need my gun.
He was probably like, check out this sweet trick, and did like a finger twirl with it and fired it.
So you think you went Wild West? It
Yeah,
was like,
had to have been.
I'm gonna holster this thing and look awesome.
Check this out, kid.
Look, it won't shoot even if you pull the trigger. There's not a round, not a round
Have
in
you
the
guys
chamber.
seen that video of the guy doing a safety thing and he's like showing how to like quick pull and he shoots himself in the leg?
Yep, I have seen that.
Guns are dangerous, everybody. Be careful. Be careful out there.
They hurt.
So I also saw an article this week about Google is saying that they have achieved quantum supremacy, which is a really aggressive sounding
It really is. That's hardcore.
Basically what it is quantum computing is basically a exponential leap over our processing power we have now. And so they're using a new method of processing information through a computer that's not the same thing. So it's like the difference between horse-drawn carriages and internal combustion engine. It's a completely new way of accomplishing the same thing of go forward. And so quantum computing has been something they've been speculating and working on and trying to get working and trying to get prototypes out of. And Google is saying, hey, we have done it. And we are claiming quantum supremacy of, hey, we have the most powerful quantum computer in the world. But what does that mean in a practical sense? So the quantum computer completed a complex computation in 200 seconds. That same calculation would take even the most powerful supercomputers in the world approximately 10,000 years to finish.
Oh, dang.
So we went from 10,000 years to 200 seconds.
That's a quantum leap.
Yes. Yes, it is. And so why that's an issue and why this is something that's worth talking about is that is how all of our security and encryption currently works, is that
It would
this
take
password,
something. Yeah.
this encryption would take 10,000 years to crack. Google can crack it in 200 seconds now.
It's not good.
So now that they've done that, if Russia can do that, or if another foreign country that wants to meddle or involve in another country and do cyber attacks,
That
guess what?
Nigerian prince that keeps emailing me, if he can figure out how to do that,
Yeah. So
he can
now,
get that money.
Access to it all.
He's going to get that inheritance finally.
now that exists, it is now a race to figure out how to fix all of encryption on all of current IT infrastructure so that quantum computers can't just say, nah, just give me that password real quick.
And that makes me wonder, like, with the creation of quantum computers and the redoing of encryption, how are they rethinking like encryption in itself to
I have no idea.
get the quantum computer pictured in there?
I
Because
don't think they are.
they don't know how to counteract it once it's created.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take quantum computing to start to understand what you have to do to fight it.
And I think it's been theoretical for a while, and now that it's actually a thing, people are probably going to panic. Like, I guarantee the most brilliant people in cybersecurity right now
Oh, shoot, it's the new Y2K.
this is an actual thing. Though.
Everybody
This is a
get
real
some canned
problem.
ham and put it in your pantry.
This is a real problem because it literally, anyone that has access to that can cause problems.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an issue of like some guy has a quantum computer
No.
at this point.
No.
We're so far off from that.
It's literally going to be like
a foreign state.
weaponized
Yes,
thing.
it's going to be it's going to be basically the next nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't surprise me if that's what really is one of the main goals for the military right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense because honestly, if you have it, there's no current encryption that can stop a quantum computer. That's the thing is everything that we understand about how you protect any information right now is not going to stand up to that kind of machine.
And seeing from nuclear weapons how we were the first to have it and use it, just to be the first to have it is such a big difference too.
And that's, I'm sure, why they're like, we got it. Everybody, we're Google and we got it.
And see, I wonder, I don't know, like, this isn't a government. This is a private company that's saying it. That's what's so different about this rather than like even going to the moon or, nuclear weapons. This is interesting. It's like a whole new, I don't know, frontier of what's going on.
And it's one of those things where there's going to be a large majority of the population that has zero interest or knowledge or awareness of what this means or why it's a thing.
Yeah, they won't understand what it can mean.
But this is a like monumental shift in computing. And the last monumental shift in computing was probably the fact that we have smartphones and everyone has computers in their pocket. But that was enabled by the internet, which I think is the true like last monumental shift in computing, where we had computers. Now all of the computers can talk to each other. That was the last big shift. And now quantum is going to be the next big thing where who knows?
And I'm sure good things can come out of it. I'm just curious
Well,
to know what the
right. When you start looking at that, they can do gene sequencing, they can do like cancer treatments, they can do all kinds of medical research with that it's so complex right now that our current computers can't do it with enough power. They have like group shares where people are doing it's like protein sequencing, where you can basically sign up for a thing where when you're not using your computer at night, it'll run and do protein sequencing for laboratories across the US to help medical research. So if you start having quantum computing take a crack at those things that would take 10,000 years with modern supercomputers and knock it out in 200 seconds, then we can start making some really crazy changes and paradigm shifting computing answers. This is where AI comes from, by the way. And this is how Skynet happens and robots take over the world.
Yeah.
Like, this is step one.
No, and first
we have
of all,
that power now.
We figured out all the stuff about like,
But this isn't Y2K, guys.
Everybody's collecting data on us constantly, but literally there's too much for them to even figure out what to do with right now.
You put that amount of computing power behind a sufficiently sophisticated algorithm of some sort that can scrape things from the internet. It has unlimited information. If it can pull in the information and process it quick enough, it can make itself an AI and become. That's the singularity. This is where the singularity comes from.
Yeah, it's Minority Report.
This is how we get to true AI in a singularity where we break things. So get scared, everyone.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird, everybody. I hope you're ready for it. I guess it's more positive. We've talked a lot of times about, is gaming bad? Because a lot of times they kind of throw out that whole like, oh, they were a gamer and they were exposed to violent themes and they were doing violent things. They were playing Grand Theft Auto. That was the classic from our entire childhood. And Oxford University actually did a study recently that talks about they don't think that's the case.
I've heard of a lot of studies actually recently.
They could not find sufficient evidence to link, and I guess you would say like compulsive gaming or like gaming a lot and really being involved in it, but they were not able to link that to negatively impacting people. From this article, rather than being negatively impacted by gaming itself, it suggested that young people who engage in dysfunctional gaming may be doing so in a bid to escape underlying frustrations and wider psychological functioning issues. And basically, this article comes down to, it's not that gaming is impacting people, it's that people that are impacted sometimes will game to escape.
I definitely did that, for sure. I mean, when I was working 2 jobs and had my first kid, that was my escape. That was my, my defrag for my brain, my entertainment, the thing that I did to unwind at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of one of those things where they're getting like a false kind of correlation there, because they were essentially saying, okay, this person who did this thing had played video games, but at the same time, how many people have played video games? A lot of them. It's one of those things like, if you look at all the serial killers in history, did they all eat McDonald's? Yes, they probably did. McDonald's is causing serial killers. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you find something that's much more universal than you're accepting that it is, and you try and tie it to it's the cause of a problem.
So I watched this whole documentary. Actually, it wasn't a documentary. I think it was an Anthony Bourdain show, and they were talking a lot about Japanese culture and how they have a lot in their media. They have a lot of extremes, like extremes, and that people like extremely successful businessmen or women are into some really crazy stuff outside of work, and they get all their aggression out and stuff, and then they're extremely reserved like in their lifestyle, and it's like an outlet for that, and like their crime rates and everything is so much lower than other places that kind of suppress those kind of things. And the fact that they're able to have a healthy type outlet is thought to be some of the reason why they don't have as high of a crime, or things like that. It's an interesting discussion, at least. I don't know if it bears out, but it's the same concept of really super violent games, or they were talking about like anime and stuff like that. That's just, some of it's really violent and gory and weird.
Yeah. There's some crazy anime out there.
There definitely is. But yeah, no, it's just interesting to have a source that's not just us randomly guessing about whether gaming is bad. There has not been really a link to it that gaming is bad. So
yeah,
far.
I'm glad that they've stopped vilifying gaming, where it's a very fun pastime.
There's enough people doing it now that they got over it.
Yeah, and it started to become more normalized now, where when we were in like middle school and high school, it was still like, why are you watching so many games and not watching like Dancing with the Stars and football?
I am excited to see when esports will be mainstream. I think it will happen in the U.S.
It's already there.
It's getting pretty big.
It's already there. It's not
It's not there yet.
though.
It's on its way.
More people watched the League of Legends World Championship than they did the World Series last year.
It's not through traditional.
Not in the U.S.
Not in the U.S.
That's what I'm talking.
In the world, though, more people watch the League of Legends World Series.
That's
or
easy
the
to
World
believe.
Championship than the World Series.
I'm talking about in the U.S. Yeah. I know esports is a thing in other countries. I'm excited to see when it's a thing here, like a real thing.
There has been a few times where I've gone to, I want to say it may have been Buffalo Wild Wings or just restaurant that I've gone to with friends on Fridays or the weekends, and they'll have, they've had Overwatch on the actual
See, that's
television.
what I'm excited to see. That's what I'm excited
And
to
I was
see.
very surprised. I was like, "Hey guys, look, there's a video game on the TV right now."
Yeah.
It is weird. It's really weird because we kind of like came from that generation.
Because it's like one of the only things like that where you're like, yeah, I can go home and go do that right now.
Yeah.
You know, I can go play the same game. Because, yeah, you can throw a ball in the backyard, but it ain't the same thing as playing
Right.
football. But with gaming, you can go home and play that exact game on that exact map they just played with the same characters. It's
Just
different.
not as good as them.
Not as good as them.
You don't know me.
I'm a prodigy.
And I guess I don't really know that I can't think of a way that video game is linked to violence, but I can see it as being like an addiction for some people.
Yeah.
Like
Yep,
a problem if
definitely.
they forget to take care of themselves or do chores, go to work, go to school. That could be a problem.
That happens a lot. I think there's a lot of people that have addiction to video games. And I think it's, to Zach's point, people that are struggling with something, they use it as an escape. It's the same way people can use drugs or alcohol or anything else as an addiction. It's just another outlet. for
Anything
people
you're
to get
using as
addicted
an
to.
escape can become something that you've escaped to a little bit
it's
too
a
far.
dangerous game because you start going down the rabbit hole, and do you stay there?
But people are also addicted to Netflix.
Sure.
Yes.
I like there's people that
For sure.
like I talk to people on a regular basis. They're like, yeah, I watched 12 hours of Netflix this weekend. I was like, that's a lot of Netflix
That
to
is
watch in
intense.
one weekend.
But also know that Matt here, who's guest starring with us, has seen like every TV show you've ever heard of.
A fair amount.
so
I was
sorry,
about
Matt,
to
I
talk
wasn't
some pretty bad
yeah, I wasn't.
junk, but now I'm not going to say it anymore.
And you'd be
I feel bad.
surprised working in IT, the amount of people that do watch Netflix at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
No,
yeah.
that is the thing, is it's kind of become one of those, it's on the fringe because I've also watched a ton of TV, but sometimes am I really paying attention to it? No, not really. You know, I like it as background noise and things like that, you know, so it's with the invent and the complete ubiquitousness of streaming platforms that sometimes it's just kind of like a white noise machine.
I hate that. I'm either watching it
love
or
it.
I'm not.
I love it.
It's
See,
just so easy to access too now.
I never put anything on as like background noise. I hate background noise actually.
I hate silence. I have to have background noise at all times. I can't sleep if it's silent.
One interesting discovery that I remembered was reading online. I'd seen it on Reddit at some point, but there is a European country, and it is Switzerland, that apparently is one gigantic booby trap. It is said to have been told that the Swiss army has specified that bridges, hillsides, and tunnels are to be designed so that they can be remotely destroyed in the event of societal collapse, pan-European war, or invasion. So anything coming into the country, any access point, any way somebody can invade by bridge, train, it's just ready to explode. Mountains.
How has there not been like some anarchist that just wants to go and play around with the random explosives that are just everywhere out there? Or how is this? I'm confused how this even works.
I mean, that's an intense system to just
It is.
blow up. It's like if something goes wrong, blow it all up.
Then we just become an island.
Yeah, we don't think about it as Americans because we're basically an island already. We have
Yeah.
Mexico to the south and Canada to the north, and it's like no one's really coming into the U.S. because we got water on both sides. So that's crazy that they've manufactured hey, we're an island too. If you try and come over here, we'll just blow everything up. But I'm concerned. I have a Swiss Army knife, and is that booby trapped? Is that going to blow up?
Yes. Every Swiss Army knife has an IED in it, so you just need to watch out.
But on the topic of explosives, like I believe that they go volatile after a while, and does somebody have to
See,
check
that's what
that
I'm thinking. Is like
to make sure that they're
I'm assuming they have to manage it.
I'm wondering if it's like a police operation where all of the checkpoints, there's police kind of like military police stationed there, and they just have the equipment that they can just hit a button, and then everyone gets an alert, and they just go set it up and blow everything up. So it's like it's a manual thing where they have to go do
you
it.
gotta go light the fuse.
Yeah, well, no, they have to like probably go place the explosives.
The bomb has been
I'm
planted.
kidding. It was a joke.
And to believe this article that I'm reading, it came out 7 years ago, and it was estimated at the time that they had 3,000 points of demolition, and then at the time of the article, it was believed to be doubled, and this was 7 years ago. So I'm imagining it may be tripled or quadrupled by now.
Now everything in Switzerland will blow up if you try and invade.
Yeah, it is probably fully
The
integrated.
Alps, all of it.
It's crazy. So don't invade Switzerland if you were thinking about it. I know our
of crazy.
listeners I know our listeners sometimes have aspirations of invading Switzerland, so cut those out.
Yeah, just don't do it. They're going to blow up the whole place because if you do it.
So, how long you guys think you would go to jail if you squirt someone in the face with your pee?
2 years.
I'm trying to figure out what law that's breaking.
Depends on the context.
See what I'm saying? Like,
are my pants on when I'm doing this?
Is that like a biohazard law where that's more extreme? Or is that like lewd and lascivious? I don't know.
What do you got? What's your guess?
Am I naked?
I'm gonna go 5 years.
Am I naked
No,
when I'm
you're
doing
not
this?
naked.
Okay, 7.
30 days.
30 days.
How we found that out is a local friendly Florida man. He's not actually friendly. It says angry.
The opposite of that.
It says angry Florida man blasts spying neighbor with water gun filled with pee. So, 71-year-old Joel is doing 30 days in jail because he blasted his neighbor in the face with pee.
He was convicted of he used a super soaker.
He was convicted of battery, but will serve just a month in jail.
He must have been playing this for a while.
And I mean, battery. That's what I was asking.
Quote. So to quote this article, bladder-busting Benjamin entered a no-contest plea during a court appearance.
There's a new art to these Florida man stories lately. Have you guys noticed?
Yeah, they've leaned into it, which is great. I appreciate that.
And I like how they get a nickname, too.
Yeah. It's nice that you throw in the extra effort.
So he was fined $1,000 and is under orders to have no contact with his 50-year-old victim, who was his neighbor, like lives right next door to him, after he blasted her in the face with pee in April while walking her dog. So she was walking her dog, and he just goes out and blasts her in the face with pee.
That is hardcore.
What kind of super soaker did he use?
It doesn't say, but Benjamin
Why are you asking?
Benjamin reportedly approached the woman and, quote, pulled out a water gun that contained his own urine and squirted her, quote, several times.
I'm so there's so many questions.
I'll answer them. Just wait.
Okay.
Here's a quote from Benjamin. I lost my effing temper and shot her in the face with my squirt gun filled with piss.
That doesn't answer any of my questions.
That's not one of my questions either.
Just wait. He's going to answer it for you. He also adds, it was an egregious thing to do. Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. But he's claiming that she was spying on him as part of a deep state surveillance campaign against him.
Oh, boy.
And he reportedly told the cops he would do it again.
So he was fighting the deep state.
He's gone down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, he has gone too far in the internet.
Gone down the Reddit hole.
This poor woman lives next to this guy. She's walking her dog, gets blasted in the face with his pee. He gets 30 days in jail, and he says, I'll do it again.
None of my questions were answered still. Why does he have a squirt gun full of his own pee?
He bought it and filled it with his own pee.
It sounded from the story. It kind of sounded like he already had it ready to go for some other reason. He's like, I'm mad. I'm gonna go grab my squirt gun with pee and
I want to ask how
shoot her
you
in
feel
the face.
that, but I feel like I maybe don't need to know the logistics
and
of it.
that's why I wanted to know what kind of squirt gun it was, because it could have been one of those little bitty pistols.
See,
the hole is tiny, or it could have been one of the big old ones.
This is my problem with journalism nowadays. They're not asking the important questions of what kind of super soaker was it? How did you fill it? Like those are the ones. Those are the questions they need to ask. That's what I'm saying.
How big was the opening? We need to know all these things.
This guy's in Pinellas County Jail. We can go interview him, guys.
We could go talk to him through some glass on a phone.
His other neighbors should be worried.
If only we could talk to Florida man.
I mean, I would immediately be worried.
Yeah, if she was spying, if he thinks she was spying on him, who else in the neighborhood does he think is spying?
I don't think she did anything to like draw that kind of criticism.
I mean, you guys don't know she could be part of the deep state.
I mean,
so he was spying on her.
What does that even mean, really?
You can't prove she's not.
I mean,
hey, you can't. We talked about ghosts and how much you don't believe in them last week. You can't do the whole like that argument now.
Why not? You guys use that argument. You can't prove she's not.
We actually didn't use that argument at all.
Anyways, Florida man, watch out. He'll blast you in the face with piss.
Speaking of Florida man, we actually are going to put a promo clip this week because we found out about a new podcast called the Florida Man Podcast. And it is the wild adventures of a guy that we've talked about many times in the past couple weeks and maybe always. And so we just wanted to let you guys know there's a new show coming that's going to try and chronicle some of the crazy adventures of Florida Man.
Hey y'all, this is Florida Man, and I want to tell you all about a brand new show coming out this November. The Florida Man Show. I keep seeing my name in the headlines, but they never seem to get the story quite right. Well, on this show, you get to hear the real story from the man himself. Me, Florida Man. Like that time that I got bit by a shark and I went to the bar instead of the hospital. Or that time that I attacked my mattress, thinking it was an intruder. Or even when I became a millionaire and all the sweet stuff I spent all my money on. Look for the Florida Man Show wherever you get your podcast. And y'all stay awesome.
So the final discovery for this week is the band of the week, and they're called Cicada Rhythm. They were born and raised in Georgia, and they modernize folk music and rejuvenate it. They try and make it a little interesting. So it definitely has some country folk elements. It has some stuff that's kind of different. The song is called Dirty Hound from their self-titled album in 2015. As always, if you have any new discoveries this week, let us know on our Facebook group, the Podcast Discovery Club. Let us know on Twitter. Let us know however you can. We'd love to hear it. We love for people to keep discovering and tell us about them. And we will talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
If I This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.